Okay, so obviously, said a lot last night just as far as the game. Wasn't really the game that we wanted to play. Didn't do a good job in all three phases. Got to go back to work and just kind of get back to some basics and some fundamentals, get them straightened out, and go from there. So, give Seattle credit; they did a great job. They out executed us in all three phases last night, and we did not execute up to par. And I just got to do a better job coaching, and we got to do a better job playing.
Watching the tape, how would you assess Damon Harrison's performance?
I think he really tried to do some of the things that we needed him to do with him out there. There's certainly some other situations that came up that will improve with time, experience in the defense itself, and some of the techniques and stuff. But I think he was, the effort and everything like that was great. He was really trying to do everything he could to help us, in his limited time here. So we'll build on it. We'll keep going. But, obviously, first step.
Explain a little more about what coaching better means to you. Obviously, you're putting in these 70, 80, 90, 100-hour weeks, your whole entire staff. Is there a particular element that really is most important there in coaching better?
You know what? When you go through a game and you play poorly and you don't win, I'm always gonna look at myself first. That's what we do as a football team and as players and coaches. We say, all right, what's the self-assessment here? What can we do this week to do a better job? It's different sometimes week to week. Maybe there's some different situations that came up that we could have addressed better, or obviously if there's things out there that game plan wise that we thought we were going to go one way and it didn't really work out better, then we got to do a better job teaching it or explaining it, or whatever the case may be. So I'll always start with me first. It's my responsibility, it's my job, and that's where I got to go out and do a better job of just making sure we're ready to go.
Coach, regardless of the quality of opponent and all that, how do you evaluate consistency of performance from week to week? In Miami game, you look at one way, complete opposite almost yesterday.
Consistency for us is just trying to do the basics and the fundamentals and the things that we're asking everybody to execute at a high level. And sometimes that consistency is from week to week. Sometimes it's within the game itself. Maybe there's a couple plays that repeat or different looks that are the same. And you may play them really well one time and then the next you don't play them as well as you did the first time. So being able to transfer that and play it all the way through the game the same is definitely part of the process too. And then certainly if there's things from week to week, it's a lot of the league is a lot of repeat concepts or copycat concepts that will come up through the course of the year. And, sometimes you'll see them maybe a couple weeks down the road or 3 or 4 weeks down the road, and you got to perform at the same level you did before or improve maybe from what you had done before. So just all the little details that we'll focus on, from the fundamentals and then to the big things like the scheme. So that's kind of what we're evaluating when we talk about consistency.
How do you assess what Tease has given you this year from a coverage standpoint? What do you think of what he's given you?
You know what? I mean, I think we're gonna, we assess all those guys every single week. It's a little bit different, and I'm not gonna lump him into one big, evaluation right now for the entire season. But I think, look, we just got to do a better job with some of our fundamentals in the back end and some of our coverage stuff, and some of those plays we've got to finish a little bit better. Overall, I think there's some definite coaching points in there that I can do a better job of making sure that we understand and that we can execute those and practice them and give them some reps and hopefully try to improve those as we go through. But we're certainly always looking at every position like that. It's not just one player; it's everybody. It's a team game, so we'll try to do that and get everybody better. That's kind of our goal.
Do you think he's giving you enough of what you actually need on a play-to-play basis, though?
You know what? I think we're putting everybody out there that we think can help us win in their roles. And I think he's someone that definitely has come through the course of the spring and training camp and the season that has shown us things that we like that he can do to help us win in certain points. So, look, like I said, it's a team game, so we all got to do a better job in that accord. But he certainly has shown us things on the field, on the practice field, and in games where, when we put him out there, we have confidence that he'll go out and do those jobs for us.
Why wasn't Decker out there for that last offensive series?
A little bit of a injury situation there come up at the end of the game. We're kind of evaluating that here today, so we'll see where that's at.
One of your players said after the game, Golden, I think it was, that it wasn't a great week of practice, and some other guys said maybe it was fine, it was normal. I was just curious how you thought last week went, and can you see signs like during the week if you're going to have a performance like yesterday? I mean, is there any sort of correlation that you know as a coach ahead of time?
You know what? It's tough. It's tough to evaluate some stuff. Sometimes you get certain feelings during practice, and generally go by the rule of the tape is never as bad as you think, and it's never as good as you think in those regards. But I think all of our process every single week as we move towards move through the season here, it has to improve. Everything does. The season gets harder as you go on, and the process has to get better each and every week. So we got to make sure we're doing that to the highest level. And look, we just obviously got to go out and execute better in the game. There's certainly been weeks where, you've either had a really good practice and maybe haven't performed well on Sunday, or you've had maybe not a good week and you've performed really well on Sunday. It goes both ways. So for us, we're just, again, we're just trying to get better each week at the process.
May seem relatively inconsequential, but just the thought process of that last offensive snap, done 2 scores. Is there still a path to victory there as a coach, or why not take a knee and not risk, I guess, injury on kind of a chaotic play?
You're talking the very last snap of the game. Yeah, definitely. Trying to get something positive or just try to be productive. You definitely could take a knee, but we felt we just had a pretty simple play to call.
I was just curious about your decision at kick returner, why Amir instead of Brandon Powell. Brandon was up, and maybe you can just touch on why Brandon was up straight to instead of TJ.
Yeah, we got, we put everybody in those positions that we think can execute their job at a high level. So we had a lot of confidence in both those guys and their roles. They both had separate kind of return roles for us in the game, which are important. And, just making sure that we do a good job with both of those return units, which are a big part of the game. So we obviously, just got to keep working at it. But we felt confident with both guys.
Amir does have a long history of fumbles. I was just curious how big of a concern that is for you.
For me, as far as I'm concerned with Amir, just going off what I know and what I've been around him, so I had a lot of confidence with him back there.
What is the, after looking at the film, what were the Seahawks doing so effectively against the run?
As far as for our offensive run game, I think they did a really good job up front with the penetration that they were able to get. Those guys inside are pretty big and pretty strong, and I think they just did a good job of coming off blocks, and their linebackers are very aggressive. I think we talked about it all week last week, how good they are in the run game. They do a good job of loading the box and just put themselves in some really good positions to make some plays. We got to execute a little bit better, and obviously, just try to get some more positive plays in the run game going earlier in the game and be able to stay with it and control the game from that aspect of it. But give them credit. They just did a great job with out-executing us in that situation.
Matt, Ziggy's now missed 7 weeks. Is there any hindsight wish that you put him on injured reserve?
No, I think we're doing everything with Ziggy. Just, we're in great communication with him, and we're working every single day to, see where we're at with that. It's a day-by-day situation, and that's what it is. So, I think we addressed all that last week. I think we're, just continually trying to work to get him out there as soon as he can.
Does he need to practice fully at this point for you to put him in a game?
I think I pretty much like all our guys to try to practice when they can and to show us that they can.
So,
Do you want me to answer the question, or do you want to just interrupt me? Okay. So, again, I try to put them out at practice whenever we can to make sure that they can perform their task at the best of their ability. And certainly someone that maybe hasn't had that many opportunities to go practice would need to go out and practice to show us that he can do that. There's also a football stamina that's built up with that too through the course of maybe a couple of weeks or a couple of days or whatever it may be. So as soon as he's ready to go out there in the game, we'll put him out there in that situation and, hopefully he can go perform.
With the run defense, are the issues a moving target, or are they consistent things you're seeing on film week in and week out that you're having trouble correcting?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think some of it is some of it's consistent, then it goes away, and then maybe some things come back in those situations. There's definitely some different scheme plays that we'll see week in, week out. Some of the things that have been reoccurring through the course of the season, some of those have settled down for us in that situation. A lot of teams are different. Just schematically what they do, so fundamental offense is just kind of the philosophy of what they do. So some of the problems or some of the situations we saw earlier in the year may not come up until another couple of weeks or so. Some of the things we saw last week might come up again, more recently. But some of the newer scheme stuff that we see, sometimes there's some coaching that needs to go on with that and just some recognition. But, just trying to get it as consistent as possible with all of that. And, again, just to make sure the execution's at a high level. Okay, appreciate it.